If I reminded you that you are perfect, would you argue me down or step into your perfection? Welcome to Perfect Mode, where there are no excuses, no expectations, and we explore the world without limitations. I'm Jay Clay, rapper, the spiritual teacher, with my co-host Troy Washington, your friendly neighborhood realtor. Let's be real, so let's be perfect. Everything, anything, plenty things, perfect. Everything, anything, plenty things, perfect mode. Everything, anything, plenty things, perfect mode. Everything, anything, plenty things, perfect mode. Perfect mode, perfect mode, perfect mode, perfect mode, perfect mode, perfect mode, perfect mode. Everything, anything, plenty things, perfect mode, perfect mode. Everything, anything, plenty things, perfect mode. Perfect. Hey. Happy day. Happy Sunday.
Everyone.
Welcome to Perfect Mode. I am Jay Clay. As you can see, Troy is not with us today. He had some important things to do, coaching some kids. That's probably winning another championship right now. I'm your host, Jay Clay, with Loretta Sharingroup, who is a podcaster that shares a lot of stories of NDEs and everything, and speaks of positivity, and is also a QHHT past life regression hypnotist.
Yeah, you got
Hypnotherapist?
it. You got
Yeah.
it. You got it.
Okay, man. I'm on it. How you doing today?
Hi, hey everybody. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
you good? You good today?
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm ready to talk about this important topic.
Yeah.
Forgiveness. Why
Yeah.
forgiveness is the shortcut to everything you want. We talk about it a lot on this show for a reason. And I want to get into it. I'm especially excited because me and you had some dialogue about it before, and it's going to be a good one. Yeah. So you want to kick it off talking about forgiveness, what it is to you and what it isn't.
So under the title "Forgiveness Isn't What You Think It Is," there is a perspective about forgiveness that people hold that may be in error. So a lot of people feel like forgiveness is, you did something so bad, I'm going to, extend my wonderful, high and mighty grace to you and forgive you. But the higher perspective in forgiveness is attempting to understand the divine timing in everything, right?
Yeah.
And that we have played all the roles. But I do want to start it out by giving Oprah's definition of forgiveness, which I actually like because a lot of us have been through very dense experiences. And her definition is forgiveness is accepting that it should not have happened any way differently than how it happened. And to me, that perspective allows, because a lot of what keeps us locked up is the ego saying that shouldn't have happened. That shouldn't have gone down. And because of that, you can't really let it go. You hold it in your heart, right? It's almost like having your fists clenched up constantly. Uh, and when you look at it like that, like, you know what? If that's how it went down, then on some level, I may not understand it, but on some level, that's how it was supposed to happen. As tragic, as sad, as disgusting as I feel that it was, it shouldn't have happened any way different, because if it was supposed to happen any way different, it would have.
Yeah.
And just releasing it, giving, almost like giving it to God. God, you got it, and then actually releasing ourselves, right, from that suffering, because we do suffer when we don't forgive. So what you think, Jay? What you
Yeah.
think?
I love that definition of acceptance. Of because a lot of healing starts with acceptance. Because a
Yeah.
lot of the times we are in denial, or we just won't even focus on it. We just won't even accept that it happened and acknowledge that it happened, so that we can have the opportunity to move on.
Yeah.
I love that, and also I remember back in the day, I would think forgiveness meant just being the bigger person. Like just I'm the bigger person. I'm better than you because I can forgive you. And I'm not gonna be slighted by this. It don't even matter that you did that. I forgive you because I'm the bigger person. And that's the farthest from
Yeah,
what forgiveness really is. Like
yeah,
that's in service to the ego. And I know that a lot of people feel that way and they push people away because of that, because they've separated themselves by believing that they are better
yeah.
than the other person.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that forgiveness is not. What would you say to that?
I love that. That's actually, yes, that's perfect. I love what you just said. That is the truth. And that is a lot. That is a lot of our belief in what forgiveness is. Like, I'm so much better than you. I can extend you this forgiveness. And it is the ego's perspective of forgiveness.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
forgiveness is special. So me and you both, we've read A Course in Miracles.
Hmm.
And for those that don't know, it's said to be channeled by Jesus.
Hmm.
It's a course that teaches you how to experience miracles and the interconnectedness of everyone, and just kind of redefine certain terms. And one thing that it says about forgiveness is, I'm going to mess this up. See, I just set an intention for the wrong thing. Okay, I'm going to get this right. They say that forgiveness is not only acceptance, but it's realizing that the other person was never to blame. It's more so that your perception of certain things is what's causing the discomfort, not necessarily their actions, but your perception of their actions and what it means to you, and your, I don't want to say allowing because that's not the right word, but kind of your viewpoint and seeing it from the egoic view versus tapping into that higher view to see if you can see it from a new perspective.
Hmm. Hmm.
Did I get it right?
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
Yeah, and I feel I really encourage anyone, because hearing that may sound very jarring. So reading those portions of the course, maybe, to get the full
Yeah.
depth and breadth of what that meant. Because as you were saying that, Jay, again, you and I talked before we started. I was thinking of people. People have had very traumatic things happen, but your perception can free you. So I agree. Your perception can and will free you.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is rooted in truth. Absolutely.
So let's you talked about it briefly about, like you said, it's like clenching your fist.
Hmm. Hmm.
What is the high cost of holding on? Why is forgiveness so important? Because like, couldn't I just go on with my life and say I don't need to forgive nobody? I'm me. I'm good. I'm strong. I'm powerful.
So the biggest thing, so actually, when we don't forgive, we actually call it holding a grudge, right? Holding a grudge, you're holding something, right? And you're holding it in your heart, y'all. You hold it in your heart, and so there is great consequence in not forgiving. It really is. And the consequence is to us, right? So if we don't forgive, so we are mind, body, and spirit. We're all one, right? We've been taught to think things are separate. Like, I could be mad at Jay, but I can, be friends with Betty Guadagno or my mama or whatever. But honestly, we are not compartmentalized like that. So if I hold a grudge against one person, there is a part of my heart that is closed off, and it impacts the way we see the world. It impacts our energy system. It is not it's not healthy. It definitely hurt it. I've heard people say many times, forgiveness is for you. It's not for the other person. It really is for you. Yeah, what do you say about that, Jay?
So I love what you said about, like, it's a hole in your heart.
Yeah.
You like you said, it's called holding a grudge, like you're holding on to something. And it made me think of, okay, when we think we think within, but our perception or our thought is nothing is separate from it that we experience because we're all seeing from our perception. So anything we look out on, we have some kind of intellectual connection to. And so I was thinking the same thing about the heart when you said what you said. Like you have a emotional connection to everything. Like your heart is where you feel from. And if anything muddies that at all, it muddies that whole perception out. So like you said, no one is exempt. Like if parents love their kids, they might go off on their kids for no reason. People might go off on those closest to them because they're holding a grudge about something farthest from them, but they're bringing it together, and it's making everything dark. Like it's not only their life, but the lives of others, assuming their perception of you in that, in your role in their life.
Yeah, absolutely. Jay, did you just feel some like spring water go down your throat just now when you were talking?
Nah.
Wait, hold on. What about now?
Nah, I didn't feel nothing.
You didn't feel sensations of cold spring water going down your throat?
Nah.
No. So that is an example of what somebody experiences when we're holding a grudge and we don't forgive. I drank spring water, but it's as if someone else is drinking poison and wanting the other person to fall ill or whatever.
Gotcha.
I only experienced what my vibration allowed, which was to be hydrated. It had no impact on Jay. But when we hold a grudge, it's like that's the belief system. If I stay mad at this person long enough, they're going to suffer. They don't. People go and live their best life. And it's you that is ultimately being harmed.
Yeah. So I love that. And I want to go deeper into it because, like I'm a visual, sometimes I'm a visual learner, and I like to just visualize that. Like it's like you said, it's like me drinking poison and expecting you to be affected by it. And so I know like I remember sometimes when I've been in rooms with people I haven't forgiven yet. And no matter how great of a day I'm having, I see them and it's like, forget this day. Like I can't believe they showed up, or like let's fight, or some just any crazy thoughts come in mind. So my day is messed up just because of their presence. And it's like why even give them that much power if I say I don't like that person? I'm saying I don't like that person, but I'm giving them all the power in the world to mess up my day, to give me poison. And I love that analogy because that's exactly what it is. You're steady drinking the poison, like, oh, I hate this person, I hate that. They're not even thinking about you. They probably didn't even realize they hurt your feelings, or they did, and maybe they moved on, or maybe they're going through it too. Who knows?
Yeah.
But that's a powerful analogy.
Yeah, that is so true. That, you know what, I always say that's an indication. Because forgiveness is such a layered, which, sometimes it's like, it's such a layered process, right? So that what you just referenced, Jay, is an indication. I think that's an indication of whether or not you have forgiven. Like when you see that person, what comes up in you, right? If when you see that person, if you like, so-and-so gonna be there, then it's like, oh, well, okay, I got a little bit more forgiveness work to do, because it's, those low vibrations are coming up in me. So yeah, that's so true. I did want to make the point though that, everybody forgives in their own time. Sometimes something occurs and then you're under this pressure. I gotta forgive. Sometimes that forgiveness takes you processing what occurred, what has happened, and what is in this for me. Why did I, on some level, was a match for this kind of experience? what is here for me to learn uh, with this occurring? And then once you see, your gift, I call it your gift from that experience and process it, then you can get to a point where you can say, okay, you know what? I get the part that you played in this scenario to help me show myself this area where I can grow and evolve. But it takes time, and so sometimes it's tough when we feel rushed. Like on top of whatever occurred, I gotta like forgive. I gotta it's a process. It's a
Yeah.
process. Sometimes it's fast. Sometimes it takes time.
I love that. And I'm curious to anyone watching real quick, like, do y'all find it hard to forgive? Like, just type yes or
Yeah.
no real quick. I'm just curious. Um, what I love about what you said is it's a level of maturity because you're taking responsibility for it. Like,
Yeah.
everyone is not willing to look at themselves to see, could I have brought this on myself? And this is not to bash the victim.
Yeah.
It's to show that you have more power in your experience than you otherwise realize. And because
Yeah.
you have that power, you can now use it to enforce the reality that you want to live in. And I kind of want to go back to what you were saying about it's a good test for like where you
Mhm.
are with forgiveness.
Mhm.
Because I agree, like sometimes people that I've actually forgiven, when they come back up, I forgot that, oh snap, I used to have a grudge with them. Like,
Mhm.
yes, I made it, I passed the test.
Yeah.
Like they're not even in my mind anymore.
Yeah.
And it really is freeing because again, you can't experience joy and pain at the same time.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's so impossible to do.
Yeah.
um I've even tried it before when I was in pain. Like, I can't feel joy, let me switch to joy. I can't feel pain now. Like, and like you said, it's
Mhm.
not always that easy,
Yeah.
but just knowing that it's possible,
Yeah.
um it changes, again, it changes everything because you have something to set forth for, instead of just accepting the worst all the time. Like, you don't have to accept it, you can get to a point where nothing bothers you.
Mhm.
But not only that nothing bothers you, you're not put in a situation where anything can bother you.
Yeah. Yeah. That's powerful. Uh, and that is a place to strive to where nothing bothers you anymore. And speaking on forgiveness is always, it's such a myriad of experiences that we've all had, right? Some of us have had experiences as children, right? And so it's like, okay, where does that conversation come from in terms of um a lesson, right, at 2 years old or whatever. And those are layered conversations to really have within yourself and with your relationship with God. But as we do grow older and we're able to start unpacking those things, you can begin to get to a point where uh, you're able to work through your triggers, right? And
Mhm.
recognize, okay, why was it a trigger? And work through that. And then kind of we're removing the blocks to love. That's what I say. We're removing the blocks to love. Yeah.
So to that, you said some key words there. You said unpacking and removing,
Mm,
which kind of lets me know is how much we hold on to, how much we gather and
yeah.
keep.
Ah,
So yeah, so we've had all these experiences, growing up, and we keep them, we hold them, we travel with them. One thing that I noticed, like, if you see someone who people would say is affluent, successful, they might not even carry their ID. They might just go around like have no cash, no credit card, they're just free. But then you might
mhm,
see a homeless person carrying a cart, carrying all their things everywhere, wanting to hold on to everything, not letting anybody get something that might not even be worth that much. But in their eyes, because they're willing to hold on to it, it's worth everything. And it stops them from having access to what they truly want, what they truly enjoy. And so I say that to say that, like, you brought up childhood experience that
Mhm.
someone might have.
Mhm.
And I had read something recently where they talked about that. They said, kids look to those around them on how to be a human, how to
Mhm.
live life. And even the unspoken gets recorded, it gets said. I mean, it gets, mirrored. So they're like, okay, so this is how to be a person. I need to maybe carry this. I need to attract certain things. Kids can see, we all can see things that we don't know that we can see, but we're affected by it. And so they might bring these things into their awareness unknowingly, because those that they are around have this energy about them like that. And so, and again, this is not to place blame on anyone, but it gets to show you that your energy can affect those around you. So the more that you can choose the higher vibration, the more easier it is for everyone around you too. Whereas nobody has to experience these things that are not aligned with what they want.
Mhm. So I feel like that can be an oversimplistic way of explaining it, and who know, I mean, it's
Yeah.
all of it, right? All of it is possible, all of it is here. I think the biggest thing is recognizing, like you said, our power, and recognizing if it happened, there's a part of me, like you said, that so I got to talk about this, about us before we're born. We agree to certain things, right? Before we're born, there are certain things that we say, you know what, because on the other side, we are just, we really are in the energy of the divine. There is no ego, there is no limitations. And so just that's what I love about spirituality, is you are able to recognize, dang, if I signed on to this, that must mean I'm really a powerful being. And so real quick, Jay, just because we can show the audience that we have a grounded experience. I
Mm-hmm.
definitely experienced, long-term financial, emotional, abuse, to the point where I wanted to die. And in my mind, when I wanted to die, that person who was doing that was a monster and I was a victim. And when I changed my perspective, when I realized I could have asked this dude to do this, like I really could have, on the other side, I really could have asked this dude to be a butthole, to push me into the light so that I can be that which I am, so that I can accomplish the goals that I wanted to accomplish. And so I just want to encourage everyone to kind of think about that a little bit. The divine being that you are not your body, as Jay and Troy talk about a lot on this platform. We are not our bodies, we're not our experiences, and we're not our thoughts. You are a powerful being. You are and the more dense your experiences have been, especially things that we experienced as children, that's the most powerful that you are. That's to the degree your power. And so stepping into that space will change your life, because then you'll say, I am the orchestrator of my life. I'm the orchestrator on some level, because I'm a divine being. I'm an orchestrator of my life. And so that is the only thing that freed me. That's the only thing that freed me. It wasn't any, it was really the recognition of who we are. So I just think sometimes it's important to talk about that with
Yeah.
this in the conversation. What you think, Jay? What you think?
No, I love that you brought that up, and I want to ask you some more about that, because I agree. Like that is the way, that recognizing of our power, like it really frees us, and it shows us that we can forgive everything, anything, and that those experiences have led us to be who we are today. But what I want to ask you, for those that are watching, they could be in the throes of it right now,
Yeah.
where they're experiencing some form of abuse, and they're
Yeah.
like, change my perspective. How I can't just change my perspective. They did this to me. Like, can you talk about how you got to that point? What was it easy? Was it a long road? Was it a medium road? You know, like if you had to quantify how you got from there to here.
So thank you for that question. Yeah, you know what? So many things, y'all. First of all, anybody who's looking at this show, y'all already there. You are already in alignment with very high vibrational teachings and high vibrational energy. Y'all are already there. uh Changing your perspective is just understanding that you are not a victim. If you could just step into that space of saying, I am not a victim of my experience. I am a orchestrator of my life. I assigned this person that role. I don't know why my crazy self would have did that, but I assigned them this role. And the person who did that, who did the most to me, was actually the most loving person, because they had to lower their vibration in order to play this role for me, because we are all love and light, y'all. That is really a true essence of who we are. And so we literally, okay, everybody look up, when you can, the soul, the little soul and the sun. It's a children's parable from Donald Neil Walsh, the author of Conversations with God. Powerful books, y'all. But there is a children's parable of the little soul and the sun, and it speaks of a soul who was like hype, like, oh my God, I am light. I'm light, y'all. Uh, uh how do I know who I am? No, because everybody else is light. Like, what's up? What we gonna do? I need to learn some stuff. And God is like, well, I mean, everybody's like here. And like, oh well, I want to experience myself as forgiveness. I want to experience that which I am. And God is like, kind of everybody is, love and light. And so the soul had to find another soul to accommodate him in order to demonstrate itself as forgiveness. And a lot of souls was like, yo, I can't, man, I can't. I love you. I can't do that. And he finally found a soul to say, I'll play that role. I'll play that role for you. I will smite you. I will play that role for you, but you have to remember that you asked me to do it. And the little soul was like, I'll remember. I'll remember. So this is the point, everyone, where you remember. I might have asked this person. I know with my ex-husband, he actually approached me during a planning session for these lifetimes and asked me if I could help him. But I understood that he was working out a whole lot of chaos, and that his chaos would be very painful, but that it would push me into my purpose. If it were not for him, I think it would have maybe taken me a little longer to get where I am. So when we look at it like that, and that's the truth, y'all, I will not I don't blow smoke. But if look at that parable, read that parable. But yeah, that's how you begin the process of changing your perspective.
Man, so you said something that really affected me that I didn't even realize. You said they love you so much that they're willing to lower their vibration.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
this is why this is significant. Because I've read stuff, heard stuff where like God is not going to lower his vibration like the divine spirit. Because I mean, it would destroy everything, of course, but wouldn't lower its vibration to maybe to come down to that level, so to speak. But we all have moments of joy. We all have moments of passion, like where we shoot up real quick and we get to experience that, where we match God's frequency for a second, and we get to have a inkling of it to bring back with us to allow us to, climb higher heights. And I say all this to say though that, like, since I've accepted more of my light and love, I'm not really willing to go down to the lower depths anymore.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
right, because I really feel it's not worth it for those around me too, because they can see an example of, oh, okay, I could do that. I could be like that, just as I'm looking to others in the same way. Like, oh yeah, I can be that happy. I can be that joyful. And so that takes on a new meaning of, why is this happening to me? Why are these people doing this to me? Like, it's because they love you so much, that they're willing to go through this chaos to make sure that you reach where you're supposed to reach, that you overcome all of this. And wow, thank you for saying that. That's
Like,
powerful.
I'm literally getting the chills, like full body chills right now, y'all. I'm getting the full body chills. Understanding that truth is incredibly healing, y'all. I'm telling you, it's incredibly healing. Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, you wouldn't want to lower your vibration because there's nothing down there for us. I actually came to a conclusion that when we are in a very low vibration, we lose our more and more of our personal power. We just lose so much of our personal power, because the light holds the information. The love is the power. Yeah, but I'm telling you, anybody who's listening to this and you're feeling something, definitely research that. There's something there for you, because forgiveness is critical, right? It really is. Like you said, you see a person that's like, oh, you don't want to feel that in your heart. I wanted to make the point that forgiveness may not look the same to everybody. Some people feel like forgiveness looks like we got to be best friends. Forgiveness doesn't look the same to everybody. And Jay actually might disagree. Forgiveness for me, so there's someone that I had, an issue with. And it's hard to assess, have I really forgiven this person? Is my heart really clear of that blockage? Because that's what it is. It's a block to love. And I was, praying, right, one night, and I started praying for this person. And I was just crying. And I really was advocating for them to God. Like, God, they don't know. Like, teach them, help them. They don't know. And I'm crying. And I was so grateful for that prayer and the fact that it was so heartfelt, because that was validation from me. Yes, you have forgiven them. Now, the reason why I say it may look different for everybody is that somebody, and Jay about to disagree, we talked about this, is that somebody I want to welcome back into my energy, into my space? Not necessarily. Have they learned their lessons? Are they going to do it again? Because guess what? I love myself too. I love them and I love myself. So, forgiveness may not look like, oh, you can come back in my house. Come back. Let's hang out again. Let's be best friends. But if you pray for somebody, that is a good barometer, y'all. If you pray for somebody and it's sincere and it's heartfelt, you have forgiven them. You see them from the higher perspective, because you cannot pray for someone and you don't love them on a certain level. So, but what you got to say, Jay? What you got to
All
say?
right, so it's a few things. Okay, so first let's go back to we spoke about I had spoke about how like you have a connection, a mental connection that everything you see goes through the filter of your mind.
Yeah.
Everything you feel goes through the filter of your heart. So nothing is exempt from it. It's all total from your perspective. Unless you change, what you experience won't change because it's all like there's no separation.
Yeah.
And so with that, I kind of wanted to talk about prayer too. So it's funny that you went into prayer and speaking about all of this because there are a couple forms of prayer. Like one is asking, like you're straight up asking, but there's an other half to that of the belief in what you ask for. So, but there are no limits on what you could ask for and what you believe. Well, you might put a limit on yourself on what you believe is possible, but at the same time, you believe that God is infinite. So, there is no limit. And so with that, let's say someone you haven't forgiven. If you were to start to visualize them in light and love and just divine light, you would really start to see them in that light. Because again, it's no separation from it. You would see them. And then the more you do it, it's more and more light that they have. The more and the more and more light that you have that they have in your eyes, the more connected you feel to them. The more forgiving you can be, the easier you can be more forgiving, but also you would bring forth a version of them that's to your light. And that's the one hidden thing that everyone doesn't realize. So like you have forgiven, these people that you spoken of, but there's just another level. Now it doesn't mean that you have to achieve that level. You could be perfectly content, happy being how you are. Just know again that there's another level because like you said, everyone came from light and love, and they might be covering it up, but they might be covering it up because we're treating them like someone that they should cover it up. So that's all they can be to us because we defined them as that. We said, hey, you're this type of person. That's all you're going to ever be. But once you change your mind about that person well enough, and again, this is, how do I say this? The work to do this is easy because it's easy to close your eyes and visualize, but it's hard at the same time because your ego is like, I can't forgive this person. I can't. No, I don't want to see this person in love and light. This person should be in trash and dirt and poverty and just whatever. But even in that, like it shows you that you're holding on to the idea of poverty and that it's a bad thing. You're holding on to the idea of dirt, that it's a bad thing. I'm not saying you, I'm just giving an example in general. So it's the important thing of all of this is there's no separation in your thought. Well, go ahead.
I love what you just said, Jay. I love what you just said. Yeah. I actually think it's another version of what I was talking about with praying, and I love visualizing that person standing in light because it is who they are. It is who they are. So thank you for that. That's beautiful wisdom. Visualizing them in light. That's cool. And it is true. Like you're right. If you see them as light enough, then maybe their interactions with you will be in light, right? Nice.
Yeah. I've seen it all the time when people's interactions weren't nice with me. And it was like, dang, I'm seeing them like that, and I'm perpetuating it by keeping them in that. And as soon as I take the little time to see them in love and light, it all changes. And I'm like, why do I do this to myself? Why?
Yeah.
It's very powerful.
Yeah.
And so one thing that I want to go into that's the most important about this, and we kind of touched on it without touching on it, is forgiving yourself.
Yes. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that's really actually the toughest, right? It's always toughest, I think, to forgive ourselves. And I've even noticed if I'm angry, if I feel angry towards someone, when I unpack it enough, it's like, Loretta, you really feel this type of way about yourself. Like, and I don't, and that's definitely ego. Because ego will say, why did it take you this long to see see this, what they were doing, or why would you date a dude that would treat you like that, or whatever the ego tells us. Um, so underneath that anger and that grudge toward that person, if you unpack it enough, um, you may find anger toward yourself, right? And so you're right, forgiving yourself, the process of forgiving yourself. Self-love is important. What do you have to say, Jay, about forgiving yourself? Like, what are some steps that we could go through to do that?
Yeah. So one, you touched on it when you were saying how do I say this? Well, okay. Let me say this. Let me switch gears for a second. A lot of times we can be so hard on ourselves
Mhm.
that we're hard on ourselves for being hard on ourselves.
Mhm.
And like even this, like when I first came into the awareness of forgiveness and how
Mhm.
powerful it is, and then I started to conceptualize it like, oh, that does make sense. I started to be hard on myself for not forgiving sooner. Like, why didn't I do this
Mhm.
before? And in
Mhm.
doing that, I was creating more unforgiveness with myself. I was
Mhm.
holding on
Mhm.
to guilt and things of that nature that shouldn't be held on to. And again, like it's a slippery slope because you're learning about forgiveness, trying to get away from it, but you're embodying the opposite and you're
Mhm.
putting more
Mhm.
and more of it on yourself. And so it's important to realize, like how we talked about the unpacking, the letting
Mhm.
go, that
Mhm.
even this right now that you're learning, even though you didn't do it before, let that go. Like don't hold on to this that you don't want so that you have to carry it all over, because it makes you heavy instead of light.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
we want to be that light. And so one of the first steps I would say is, even if you're not ready to let go, not adding to your burden. Like don't
Yeah.
add any more to your burden.
Yeah. Yeah. That self-talk is very critical. Where you were saying, well, you should have forgave given earlier. There's a belief that I have about how we should treat ourselves. It's an analogy that I use, is to treat ourselves as if we would a baby, right? If we see a baby struggling to walk and it falls down, we wouldn't say, what? I can't believe you still falling down. Like, I can't believe you ain't got this together yet. We wouldn't say that. We'll be like, you can do it. You can do it. Come on, baby. Get the camera, baby. They about to walk. And then once they start taking a couple steps, we call in the whole neighborhood. We call in our family and kissing and hugging. And that's the same way we should treat ourselves. We are innocent, y'all. We are really, this is a course in miracles, but it's really who we are. We're really in heaven with God. We have not changed. We are as God created us. We're here for experience. We're playing roles, right? We have these costumes and we're playing roles. And I always say we're bored on the other side because we just want to keep coming here and doing stuff, making mistakes to learn and acquire more knowledge and be more and more, like source. But this is why we're here, is to not get everything right the first time, right? To be patient with ourselves. And when we get that, where we're patient with ourselves, where we fiercely love ourselves, then we will find that it is easier and easier to love and forgive others. That love that is within us is able to extend out because we're all one, right? But to the degree that we judge ourselves is to the degree that we judge others. Most people who are very judgmental, you will find they're very critical and judgmental of themselves. So it's important to, like, we are embarking on a lot when we put wear these bodies, we come on this planet. This can be a rough place, real talk. It can be a rough place. We're doing the best we can. We have to give ourselves and others grace. We have to give grace. Um, that's why if we had it all together, we'd be in heaven, one of the spirit guides, guiding from heaven. Some of us come to kind of just help everybody, but most of us, we need to be here because there's something we still want to experience. As spirit, we may already know it, but we want to experience it here. But I just want everybody to know, everybody who's listening to know that you are on one of the toughest schoolhouses. Earth is one of the toughest schoolhouses, y'all, in the entire universe. So give yourself grace and recognize your courage for being here. Recognize your courage for being here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love all of that, and I want to speak about the baby analogy first because I totally agree with that. Like when we were learning how to walk from our side of it, and we fail, we didn't think, oh, I'm never gonna walk. I'm not gonna do this no more. Like I'm never gonna walk again. I'm never gonna try again because I'm just gonna fall. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But that's how we are as adults now with certain things. We're not willing to give ourselves that grace.
Yeah.
And maybe it's because we don't have the constant encouragement like we
Yeah.
once had from all those around us. But like you said, we should treat ourselves that we should encourage ourselves. Like, yeah, I'm gonna fall. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm fall again probably, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
keep walking. And shout out to my sister who's watching from Instagram. She said it's
Hey,
hard to
T.
forgive ourselves. It's hard to forgive yourself for staying in bad situations that you should have left long ago. Not
Mm,
ready to forgive them until I forgive myself first.
mm,
And I know Loretta, you kind of just spoke on that as well. And something that I say to Troy all the time when we talk, whenever I learn something new, just anything at all, like not dealing with forgiveness or just something different, and it makes sense, it's like I should have did this from the start.
yeah.
And again, like how we talked about, it's a slippery slope. I nix all of that. I just say, you know what? I'm gonna do it from now on. Now that I get it, I'm gonna do it from now on,
Yeah.
and accept that you can't do what you don't know about. You can't. You're put in this situation so that you can know about it from a new perspective. But
Yeah.
once you know, like you don't have to sit in it unless you want to. And forgiveness is a great key to unlock all of that.
Read her comment again. I just want to hear it again because I can't see it on the screen.
Okay. It's hard, yeah, because I can't share the Instagram on the
Yeah.
live, but it says it's hard to forgive ourselves. It's hard to forgive yourself for staying in bad situations that you should have left long ago. Not ready to forgive them until I forgive myself first.
Yeah, that I love. Oh, I'm getting the chills. I love that you said that, sis. I love that you said that. That is so important, y'all. When we are okay, so I don't even know if you were talking about in romantic relationships, but romantic relationships, y'all, are the biggest teacher for us. They touch places that nobody else is able to impact, right? And one of the most, I feel like, I used to work at a women's shelter for women who were, abused by their partners and men, actually. But one of the most damaging things that somebody can ask is, well, why did you stay? I just feel like I'm sorry, it's one of the most ignorant questions that somebody can ask. And if somebody's asking a question like that, they have not been in a position like that. Dealing with toxicity in the area of a romantic relationship is such a layered learning experience. Um, but you're able to grow in so many beautiful ways. uh so yeah, be patient. Don't ask Why did it take me so long? A lot of times when people are in situations like that, number one, the first thing a person may do if they have the intention of controlling another person, take control of the finances, want to isolate, love. Listen, it's a whole process. Seems like it's a memo that all the people got who want to be that, play that role. It's a memo. Okay, so I need to love bomb them. Okay, then I need to isolate them from their family. Okay, and then I need to, there's a whole checklist that they go through, and it's very difficult to recognize it. But then after you recognize it, it takes a while to free yourself. There's so many attachment levels of attachments in a situation like that. I think I went to a 3 or 4 different attorneys at 3 or 4 different times for me to finally file for divorce with my ex-husband. You go, you get scared, it's something new. They apologize or whatever it is. It could be emotional abuse, it could be whatever. But they say it takes about 7 times for a person to finally go through and pull through and say, I'm done. Deuces, peace. I'm done. I'm not doing this. So we have to make sure we are patient with ourselves in situations. And again, you got to extend yourself that love. The last thing you need is an additional person to beat up on you. And it's usually that self-talk that's beating up on you. Don't do it. We are courageous beings for being here. Yeah. Thank you for that comment. That's beautiful.
Yeah, and thank you for that response. And I too want to circle back to something you said earlier about, to everyone watching, that to be here, just to be here, like you've already changed your situation, because we are choosing to be of high vibration. And
Yes.
because of that, like attracts like. And
Yeah.
so there's no way you can experience us unless there's a part of you that is high vibration. And
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
always remember that as well, that okay, well, yeah, it's not as bad as I might think that it is. It can
Yeah.
seem bad from a current perspective, but like you said, like be easy on yourself. Like give yourself that grace. Treat yourself like a little child. That's one thing I'm gonna take from this, because that's so true. And
Yeah.
I know this, but I forget it sometimes.
Don't curse the darkness, y'all. I'm gonna tell you something. If it were not for the stuff that we go through, that's where the wisdom comes from. That's where the character comes from. That's where the compassion comes from. That's where the power comes from. I'm telling you, it's the dark. Don't curse the dark. It's painful. It is painful. But I'm going to tell you something. If you're going through something, your story ain't over. You are going to be a blessing to yourself and to others. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. You're going to be a blessing.
I'm using that. I'm taking that. If your story ain't over.
Story
I
ain't
mean, no,
over.
if you're going through something, your story ain't over.
The story ain't over.
Yes.
Real.
I love
Yes.
that. Uh,
I wanted, before we close out, I know it's getting late. I want to reference Robert Schwartz's books, Your Soul's Journey. He has a few of them. Robert Schwartz, his last name is Schwartz. It's one of the books that really, really freed me from that victim consciousness. And he just talked about the different life challenges that we agreed on before we decided to incarnate. Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, when you see, like, we are actually able to read people's pre-birth planning sessions. It's so powerful, y'all. It is so powerful. But yeah, we're divine beings. We are divine beings, y'all. There's so many layers to us. So yeah, I just wanted to reference that.
and just to segue through that, So yeah, Loretta is a podcaster. This is her channel. And not only does she speak to people that had near-death experiences and spiritual experiences, but you've also talked to some people that had pre-birth planning, that remember their pre-birth planning experiences, and that can actually take you through it where you can visualize it too. Like, wow, that makes so much sense. I can see that happening, and it opens you up to what you thought was possible. And when you just know new things are possible, you really understand that everything is possible, even you coming out of your situation unscathed, so to speak.
Yeah. I love spirituality. To me, it gets us in touch with, you know, I love religion as well. All roads lead to the mountain. But what I love about spirituality is instead of attributing beautiful traits such as goodness and love and light, instead of always attributing it to somebody outside of ourselves, spirituality helps us to recognize that love and light within us, how layered we are. And it's so fun, y'all. It's so fun just to know who we are. It's I love it.
I love that you said that, because again, like when I was at the wall looking at, okay, am I gonna cross over to this spiritual path, or I'm gonna stay where I'm at? I thought it was gonna be boring. I thought that I was gonna have to be this strict person that couldn't have fun, and it's the farthest from that. Like it's opened my mind, my eyes to so many new experiences, and yeah, I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, this is awesome.
So thank y'all again, everybody that rocked with us today on this special Sunday about forgiveness and letting it be the shortcut to everything you ever wanted. Yeah, just if you find this helpful, like, subscribe, hit the share button, share it with somebody that you think would benefit from this. And thank you, Loretta, for being here, filling in for Troy. We're definitely gonna have you back on more, not just when Troy isn't here, but just in general. And is there anything else you want to say before we?
I think I see a comment. I think it's from your dad.
Oh yeah.
Do you see it?
Yeah. Shout out to my dad. He said, I believe that we are spiritual beings going through human experience for the purpose of growth and development. We are learning to be that which we already are.
Oh, I love it. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I love that. Yes. And even that perspective right there that you shared that's it. That's what we've been talking. It's the truth of who we are. Right. And if a person who really understands that, it's hard for them to see themselves as a victim. Yeah. I love it. So I see where you get it from, Jay. I see where you get it from. Okay.
All right. Well, yeah, appreciate y'all again. And just remember, you're a perfect creation made by a perfect creator. So you might as well accept your perfection and enter perfect mode.
If I reminded you that you are perfect, would you argue me down or step into your perfection? Welcome to perfect mode, where there are no excuses, no expectations, and we explore the world without limitations. I'm Jay Clay, rapper, the spiritual teacher, with my co-host Troy Washington, your friendly neighborhood realtor. Let's be real, so let's be perfect. Perfect. Everything, anything.